Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know me, I of course am the FPL Train, where on this channel we talk all things fantasy football. And in today's video we're looking at our transfer plans ahead of game week 14, which starts tomorrow. It's a quick turnaround this week. So obviously yesterday game week 13 finished and tomorrow 14 begins. So you've got to be on it because there's a few decent fixtures going into game week 14, and I'd hate for you to miss out on some of those fixtures. But anyways, we're going to be going through then our transfer plans for game week 14. I'm going to be recommending 3 players ahead of this game week. But before that, let's look back at the game week 13 transfers that I recommended. And boy, it was an absolute shit show, basically. Yeah, so starting us off then, I went for Timber as the defender. Now, Arsenal, their quality, I mean, they're not been as good as they were last season, but they're still challenging, let's face it. And I looked at the West Ham game, and I thought, you know what, I think Arsenal are going to do pretty well there. And they did, to be fair. They scored 5 goals, which is probably the downside of it, the fact that they scored 5 goals. But yeah, I just feel like he was obviously the cheapest defender to go for that starts week in, week out at the minute, because Ben White's going to be out for some time. So it just made sense. But, conceding 2 goals against West Ham wasn't great, which meant he only came away then with 1 point against West Ham, which, was really disappointing. I expected a lot more, to be honest. I thought they'd get a clean sheet there, but that didn't happen. So yeah, that one was an absolute disaster. And then Jared Bowen, of course, in the same game, wasn't much better at all. So obviously, I didn't think that West Ham were going to win. Let's face it, it was against Arsenal, and I did say, look, this is a tricky fixture. But after that, West Ham's fixtures are good. And at the end of the day, if you're going for a player like Bowen, it doesn't matter if West Ham win. It's as long as he can get, a goal or maybe an assist. That didn't happen. Even though, obviously, West Ham got 2 goals, he didn't get any assists and he didn't get any goals at all. So he came with a measly 2 points himself as well. So that wasn't great either. So that's disappointing. But like I've just mentioned, his fixtures now going forward, they're actually pretty decent. He has got the likes of Leicester, Wolves, Bournemouth, Brighton and Southampton all in the next 5 game weeks. So he's definitely something I recommend keeping in your team if you got him. And if you're still thinking about bringing your team, I definitely recommend it. Yes, he didn't do great in game week 13, but it is against Arsenal. So, the chances of him doing well there were pretty slim. It was a gamble going a week early. Didn't pay off if you did go for him, but definitely for now, I'll get him in your team. And then finally, Danny Welbeck got 2 points as well. This one was, shocking as well. And I did say, because obviously a lot of people are going for João Pedro as well. I'll go Danny Welbeck because everybody else going João Pedro. It didn't really matter, really, did it? Because both of them blanked in the end. So that was really surprising against Southampton. I was for sure, positive that Brighton were going to win this game 3, 4, maybe even 5-0. Didn't happen. It was 1-1. And Southampton probably deserved the win, to be fair. They're actually pretty decent in that game. So it was really surprising. I mean, I'm glad, because I've got one of these players. I'm glad I didn't actually captain him. Because, man, captain a play on a Friday, blanking, that is just soul destroying. But yeah, really disappointing that one. I generally did believe that, even if Danny Welbeck didn't score, I thought he would get maybe an assist or something. That didn't happen. But very much similar to Jared Bowen, obviously, except the fact that their fixture in game week 13 was really good. Even now, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 for Brighton are decent. Fulham, Leicester, Crystal Palace, West Ham and Brentford all coming up. Still good fixtures for Brighton. Still get your Brighton players in, I reckon, going forward, because I still think they'll smash goals in. Like I said, it doesn't really matter when it comes to attacking players if those teams win. As long as those players score goals, that is all that matters. Now then, on to the game 14 players, and I'm not going to lie to you, all 3 of these players I'm recommending to you are all premium players. So you might already have a couple, you might have none. If you've got none, I doubt you're going to be able to get all 3 of them in. But for sure, if you've got 2 of them, I definitely will get the 3rd in, because these 3 players, I think, are going to smash it in the next 5 game weeks. And starting us off, we have got Trent Alexander-Arnold of Liverpool. Obviously, they've just came back off a 2-0 drumming on Man City, which obviously is pretty decent in all fairness. And, look at the fixtures going forward for Liverpool. I think they're going to be pretty decent, to be fair. I mean, look, the top of the league, absolutely smashing it this season, making the rest of the league look terrible. You got to give it to Arnold Slot. he's absolutely crushing it this season, making Jurgen Klopp look like a pretty average manager, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, going forward then for Liverpool, game week 14 coming up, what we've got in the next couple of days. They have got Newcastle United away from home. So that is probably a tricky fixture, but in all fairness, I think Newcastle, they're actually struggling to score goals, to be honest. I can't remember the last time I watched a game where Newcastle absolutely smashed it in terms of goals and that. So yeah, I definitely would look at going for, Trent in early. He's dropped in price, he's 7.9 million, worth looking at. And then after Newcastle, Everton away, nice, cheap, easy fixture. I know it's a derby, but Everton are that bad, man. They're that bad. I wouldn't be concerned at all. Fulham at home. Fulham are a strange team. One week they're amazing, another week they're not great. But yeah, at the end of the day, Liverpool are so dominant right now. I think they'll be all right there. Spurs in 17 is going to be a little bit more trickier, but look, I've got no worries with Liverpool at the moment. They've just beaten, obviously, Man City comfortably 2-0. I mean, you could argue, obviously, Spurs beat them 4-0? 4-1? I think it's 4-0. I can't quite remember now. But, I think Liverpool will outdo them. But, even then, 1 out of 5 fixtures being difficult ain't exactly, something to worry about. And, of course, Leicester, game week 18, at home. You'd have to say he's probably a must-have there. So I think Liverpool will absolutely slaughter Leicester at this moment in time. I mean, obviously, Leicester could obviously come good with Ruud van Nistelrooy, but it doesn't look good. I mean, telling you, they should have signed David Moyes, not Ruud van Nistelrooy. But we'll see how Leicester get on the next couple of games. But at the moment, I definitely think Liverpool are going to definitely slaughter the likes of Everton and Leicester. I think they'll also get clean sheets against Newcastle and Fulham. And I even see a clean sheet probably against Spurs. Because let's face it, Liverpool defensively this season, they've actually been pretty decent, to be fair. Moving on then to the next premium player and the midfield change, and that is, of course, Saka of Arsenal. A guy in high demand currently right now. He's now 10.3 million. He's going up in price at the moment. Absolutely killed it against West Ham, getting those 3 assists, the goal, and the 3 bonus points. And he even went off early in the 73rd minute, and he still came in with 3 bonus points. So, yeah, he absolutely killed it against West Ham. Also, the week before against Forest, he killed it. So he's got a total of 31 points in the last 2 game weeks. You could go, well, maybe he'll go dry now, but look at the fixtures coming up for Arsenal. I think they're actually going to cruise it in the next 5 game weeks. Man United's going to be an interesting one in the next couple of days because you don't know how good United are under the new manager, but he's just got there, and I still think Arsenal are going to slaughter him. Obviously, Arsenal have just played Sporting Lisbon, who United manager used to manage, and they've just slaughtered them. They probably play about the same way that they're playing under the Man United manager. And I just think they're going to do it again if he's playing the same tactics against Arsenal. I think Arsenal will just slaughter United. I'm not going to lie. The fact that it's at the Emirates as well is also a big advantage for Arsenal. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 3, maybe a 4-1 game, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I think Saka will be pretty decent in that game. And then after that, I mean, look at those fixtures next 4 game weeks then. Fulham away, comfortable. I mean, the FPL got them down as a grey fixture, a difficult one at times. But I think they're going to cruise past Fulham. I mean, obviously, I think they struggled last season against Fulham, if I remember. But anyway, I think they'll beat them there. And then Everton, they'll slaughter them. Crystal Palace have been poor this season. I mean, the manager's he's getting away with it at the minute, but I think they've been really poor. And then Ipswich, I mean, they're decent, but the fellas at Emirates, I think they're going to slaughter them as well. So, definitely be getting Saka in your team because, man, those fixtures going forward are pretty tasty. So the final player then is Erling Haaland, which might be a complete shock because nobody really wants him in their team right now. So many people are currently getting rid of him. That's why he's now down to 15 million, which is still really expensive, obviously. But yeah, everybody just seems to want to get rid of him. He's now less than 50% owned. Not seen that for a while. He's usually about in the high 70s. So yeah, nobody's got faith in him. And I can't blame them. Man City have lost the last 4 Premier League games in a row now. This guy's only scored 2 goals in 8 game weeks, which is absolutely mental considering he scored 5. Well, he scored 10 in 5 game weeks, which is crazy to think of the difference. This goes to show how bad Man City have been recently. But I think they're going to turn around now. I think the fixtures are looking decent now. You think about the fixtures they've just had. Liverpool, Spurs, both of them are really obviously quality teams. I think the Spurs game, in the fact that it was 4-0, if it was 2, maybe 1 or 2-0, it wouldn't have been that bad or shocking. Brighton can beat anybody on their day. I mean, they're quality at times, so, that's, not a surprise. And he did score in that game, to be fair. I think the Bournemouth one was probably the big shock of it in game week 10. But apart from that, look, the fixtures weren't great in my opinion. And now the fixtures going forward, I think they're decent. I think they're going to slaughter Forest. I really, really do. I know Forest have had a quality start to the season. But look, I wouldn't want to be playing Man City now. I think they're angry. They're playing at the Etihad as well. I think this game could be 3, it could be 4, it could be even 5-0. The way Man City are going to be feeling right now. They're going to be angry, maybe 5-1, because they are defensively a shambles at the moment. But I think they're going to be scoring a lot of goals in that game. And then Palace away. Palace have been piss poor this season, let's face it. They're getting away with it. It's going under the radar, but they have been awful this season. I remember at the end of the season, Palace fans were reckoning they were going to get Europe. And I don't blame them because they were looking good last season. But just been awful. Made some terrible decisions in the summer from the looks of it. And yeah, I think Man City were right there. And then you got Man United in game week 16, where I think it's a tough one. Now, if you remember, Man City played Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League final. They got battered by Sporting Lisbon, who was obviously managed at the time by United manager. But if you actually watched that game, Man City battered them. They absolutely battered them. They just couldn't score goals. And obviously, Haaland missed that penalty. So if they play the same way as Sporting Lisbon did Man United, and Man City get their scoring boots on, they could batter United 4, maybe even 5-1, I reckon it'll be. Which is worrying, obviously, because it's at Old Trafford and I'm a United fan. But yeah, I'm definitely worried about that fixture, and I do think United will get battered by City. And then game week 17, Aston Villa away from home. It's currently down as a difficult fixture, but Aston Villa they're not winning games either. They're a bit like Man City currently right now. And the way Aston Villa play, I do think Man City will win that game as well. They could win that one 5-1. Because the way Villa play, the high line, they could get absolutely done by that. We still don't know the injury to Emi Martinez, if he's out long term. Their best goalkeeper's out as well. So, it could look a bit bleak there for Aston Villa. And then there's Everton. I'm telling you, if you go with any Everton players right now, after game week 14 especially, get rid of them. Because if you look at it, they've got Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City coming up in the next 5 game weeks. That is just absolutely mental. So yeah, I think they're going to batter Everton. Not going to lie, Everton are poor. They're just shocking to watch. They can't score goals. They can't keep clean. Well, they've kept a couple of clean sheets, but I think Man City will batter them. It's at the Etihad as well. So yeah, definitely think he's going to wipe the floor of them. So I think 4 game weeks out of the 5, he'll score goals in all 4 of those 5 games. Which one will be against United and Villa, I'm not so sure. But he could also score against both of them. But yeah, I think it's a good time to have Haaland in your team. Even though Man City are not looking good right now, I think they are going to be turning it around in these next 5 game weeks. So those are the 3 players I'm recommending. Trent, Saka and Haaland. Unbelievable players, premium players. You've probably already got 1 or 2 of them already. I definitely will get the 3rd as well if you've got the money to. And yeah, the fixtures for all 3 of them look pretty decent. So yeah, let me know what you think of these signings or these transfers going forward for game week 14. Remember, don't forget, tomorrow is the deadline. It kicks off game week 14 tomorrow, so don't miss out on that. Let me know what you think of these transfers. Let me know what transfers you guys are doing for game week 14. And before I go, please do not forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.